Hello, I'm Juliana, and I'm here to talk about the gates and the gene keys, human design, psychology, how it all links together, and how we can support ourselves as we're moving through these different energies. So on May 27th, the sun is illuminating gate 16 or gene key 16. So in human design, this is known as the gate of skills, enthusiasm, and zest. And in the gene keys, it's known as the Shadow of Indifference and the gift of versatility. So in the human design body graph, the gate 16 is in the throat center and it connects to the spleen. On the shadow side of this gate, we talk about self-criticism and uncertainty about putting your talents into the world, actually manifesting them, turning them into form in the world. And this holding self back because of what others might say to you. And on the other side of that shadow, it's leaping too soon, leaping without right timing, leaping out of anxiety or fear or belief that I need to get this done now or I might miss out. Pretty much kind of like FOMO. And the higher expression of this is we tap into the right timing of leaping into what we're implementing into the world, even if we don't have all of the steps, because we know that the steps are going to appear as we take each step. And it's really having faith in that leaping, that as long as we're in right timing and in our hearts and responding to our strategy and authority, we're going to be supported and the steps will reveal themselves. So if we talk about the gene key in the Shadow of Indifference, this is the shadow that is so playing out in the world where it prevents us human beings from fully embracing the change that we feel is being called for. Because in order to create change, we need to leave our comfort zone. And this is really it's a genetic expression that's been programmed in the collective. And it exists in our genetics through all of these centuries of conditioning. And what this shadow of indifference really does is it has us focus on the inessential, on what is not important. And it causes us to look away from what truly matters to both us personally, as well as what's happening in our collective, in our world, in our communities. It also has this impact on us where we can dream and have all of these plans, but the energy is not there to actually be able to take the steps and begin to create the experience for us. So we get so bogged down by this energy of fear, and we have excuses that go through our minds. Like, I've had these for sure. I'm not ready yet. I need more steps in place. I need to learn more. All of these things. I need more money. Whatever the fear narrative that happens in your brain. And this conditioning happens all around us. So we are pummeled with propaganda that tells us that our dreams aren't possible, that we need to be realistic, that you can't make money doing X, Y, Z, and that this propaganda, this conditioning exists around us everywhere, in television shows, in magazines, in the news, everywhere it's telling us what to believe, which puts us into this real energy of kind of it's a very passive energy, this indifference. And it can be represented in two ways in our collective. You see it as gullible, right? This is when it's repressed in us and we buy into whatever programming or propaganda that we are told. For example, if a lot of what I see nowadays is it's like we look to the government to fix things for us. We go, well, if they can't fix this, if they can't do this, then how can I possibly have an impact on something to make a difference to my community, to my family, to my own life? And that just results in us feeling weak and powerless in our ability to create. And it's really this internal kind of collapse that happens that keeps us in this lower energetic frequency of basically believing that life is pointless and we're powerless. As I say that, I can feel the energy as I say that. On the other way that the shadow is presented is when we become self-deluded. And this is really an over-identification with structures in our systems, techniques that we have, and structures in the mind. So it's like we're looking for the proof, the third dimensional proof, and the explanations and the reasoning. And well, if you can't tell me why and how you arrived to that answer, then it can't be true. And it becomes this great attachment to needing to have certainty, right? And in that, we're indifferent to the possibilities and the power that is actually available to us. So when we're born, our unique individual talents, we're born with those. We all have them. And as we grow up in our families and in our communities, we become conditioned away from our unique talents, often because they don't fit within our current collective belief of what is valuable. So those talents are still in you, they're still in me, but they can only emerge and be fully expressed as we begin deconditioning ourselves and as we tap into courage and try to take a leap, right? Courage is really the only way, and supporting our nervous system, that we can move through our conditioned programming. We need to be willing to take a risk into doing something different for ourselves. And by tapping into an enthusiasm about what we're here to express and what we're here to share, because that energy of enthusiasm it lights a fire in you. And then it's like, okay, maybe I can do this, even if it feels scary. Right? And as we tap into the courage and the enthusiasm, we start to move into this gift of versatility or sustainability. And as we do that, as we grab a hold of our courage and support our nervous system and bodies as we're going along and feel enthusiastic and really on purpose with what we want to express into the world, we start to tap into the truth of our own nature and our own power, and how that truly you are your own creator of your existence, and I am my own creator of my existence, and we are all that powerful. And this is what this gate is truly calling to us, is that we are that powerful. So versatility is about being able to feel drawn to learning and doing a skill, whatever it is. Like for me, for the last 4 years, it's been human design and the gene keys, right? I'm drawn to learning it. I'm drawn to absorbing the information. And just recently, I've been drawn to start taking the steps to share my insight with what all of this information means for me, because it's so important for me to share that with other people. And it's like through learning that skill, through taking those steps to share and create in the world, we do it with that enthusiasm and courage, and it starts to form this experience and this experiential process that our cells and our neurological pathways start to remember. And when we begin to learn a skill, that skill, it's not about what we learn, but it's about how we do it. And that's where the versatility really comes in, right? Because then if you tap into a skill that you really love to do, and then you're inspired by something else that you want to move towards, you already know how to do it because you've already developed a skill that you've previously looked at. So this is really also, it's a collective energy gate or gene key, and it's about giving it back to the collective what we learn. Because in truth, and this is so true, each and every single one of us has a unique perspective, gift, energy to give back to the collective. We are like an ecosystem where all of the trees, all of the animals, all of the bugs, all of the geography, the rocks, the earth, the soil, all of it has an important part to play in the health of the ecosystem. And the more that we can tap into this gift of versatility, of expressing our skills into the world, we then start to contribute to a healthy ecosystem because we are part of the ecosystem. So I want you to imagine for a second, right? Like imagine if at the age of 5 or 6, we were watching our children, right? Starting to show us some of their gifts that they have, some of their natural tendencies. Now imagine that we lived in an age where we saw that and we helped those kids nurture their gifts. Instead of sending them to a school where they're forced to sit behind desks and they're forced to become this homogenous part of our culture. Right? Imagine what the world would be like if everyone got to express their unique energy and gifts to the world. And this is where we're headed. I truly believe this. On a collective level, this is where we're headed. But first, we need to clean up our own shadows and fear around expressing ourselves into the world. And as you start to move through that shadow and start to uncover your gift, you are returning to the wisdom that your soul came here to express, that was conditioned out of you as a child when you were born into the family you were born into and gone into the school system that you went into. And this isn't the fault of our families or our systems, but it's conditioned in our families and our systems for generations. So I really want to support you. If you have a dream or a little spark of something that you would love to express, find your courage, grab a hold of it, find the enthusiasm that you have for it, why it's so important to you, and express that side of yourself. The world needs you. Thanks so much for watching.